Have you ever stood beside someone you loved, looked into their eyes, and realized, after years, maybe even decades, you still didn't fully understand what they needed most in moments of closeness? Hello, my friend. I want you to hold on to that thought because what we're about to explore may shift how you view intimacy, trust, and connection, especially in the later chapters of life. You see, aging doesn't mean fading away. For many, it's the beginning of a deeper, more emotional intelligence-driven understanding of what it truly means to love and be loved. This is Dr. Evelyn Hart speaking to you, not with clinical coldness, but with warmth, respect, and decades of experience guiding couples through the intricacies of senior women's psychology and the subtle, often unspoken truths about female pleasure. What I'll share with you today isn't found in locker room jokes or late-night TV chatter. It's rooted in biology, in tenderness, and above all, in elderly wisdom. Now, take a breath. Wherever you're watching from, maybe a peaceful backyard in Vermont, or your porch in Phoenix with the breeze carrying hints of summer, this moment is just for you. Pour a cup of coffee or sip some mint tea. We're going to talk, human to human, about something most men over 60 were never taught: the truth behind female ejaculation, often referred to as squirting, and why it's far more than a curiosity. It's a reflection of emotional safety, of deep release, and yes, of love. Let me ask you this. Has there ever been a quiet moment, maybe during intimacy, when you looked at your partner and wondered what she was feeling inside? Not just emotionally, but physically. Did something unexpected happen and you didn't know if it was normal, healthy, or a sign of something deeper? You're not alone. In fact, those very questions come up every week in my practice. Mature men, thoughtful and caring, ask in whispers what they've long wondered in silence. Is it real? Is it safe? Is she okay? These aren't naive questions. They're the beginning of emotional intelligence in relationships, especially in the realm of senior wellness tips and female psychology facts that too often go unspoken. And here's what I want you to know. Female ejaculation is real. Scientifically, emotionally, and relationally, it is not just a response to physical touch. It's a complex, beautiful expression of emotional and physical trust, one that, when embraced with compassion and understanding, can transform not just your relationship, but your health, your confidence, and your connection to your own vitality as a man. Now, take a breath. Wherever you're watching from, maybe a peaceful backyard in Vermont, or your porch in Phoenix with the breeze carrying hints of summer, this moment is just for you. Pour a cup of coffee or sip some mint tea. We're going to talk, human to human, about something most men over 60 were never taught: the truth behind female ejaculation, often referred to as squirting, and why it's far more than a curiosity. It's a reflection of emotional safety, of deep release, and yes, of love. Now, let me ask you this. Has there ever been a quiet moment, maybe during intimacy, when you looked at your partner and wondered what she was feeling inside? Not just emotionally, but physically. Did something unexpected happen and you didn't know if it was normal, healthy, or a sign of something deeper? You're not alone. In fact, those very questions come up every week in my practice. Mature men, thoughtful and caring, ask in whispers what they've long wondered in silence. Is it real? Is it safe? Is she okay? These aren't naive questions. They're the beginning of emotional intelligence in relationships, especially in the realm of senior wellness tips and female psychology facts that too often go unspoken. And here's what I want you to know. Female ejaculation is real. Scientifically, emotionally, and relationally, it is not just a response to physical touch. It's a complex, beautiful expression of emotional and physical trust. One that, when embraced with compassion and understanding, can transform not just your relationship, but your health, your confidence, and your connection to your own vitality as a man. Now let's go a little deeper. You see, when a woman is deeply aroused, truly relaxed, safe, and immersed in the moment, her body may release not one, but two different fluids. The first is what you probably expect: natural lubrication, the body's gentle invitation into connection. But the second is something else entirely. This second fluid doesn't come from the vagina as many assume. It emerges from the Skene's glands, located around the urethra. Some researchers even refer to them as the female prostate because of their structural and functional similarities to the male prostate. When these glands are stimulated, often during deep rhythmic contact with the G-spot, they may release a fluid that for many women feels like a letting go, not just physically, but emotionally. And let me be very clear, this fluid is not urine. While it exits through the urethra, its chemical composition is unique. Scientific studies have found it contains a mix of elements, including glucose, PSA, prostate-specific antigen, and enzymes not found in urine. It may also contain trace elements like urea and creatinine, but that doesn't make it waste. In fact, it's a signal, a sign of deep arousal, and often of profound trust. In my experience, women don't talk about this lightly. Many have spent a lifetime feeling embarrassed or confused when this happens. And men? Some panic, others joke, but few realize they're witnessing something extraordinary, their partner's body at its most vulnerable and alive. And here's something vital for anyone seeking healthy aging women advice. Not all women squirt. Some do, some don't. And it has nothing to do with love, skill, or connection. Just as some people blush easily and others don't, female ejaculation is simply one of many natural variations in how pleasure is expressed. So if your partner does, or if she doesn't, it's all normal. The only thing that matters is how we respond to it, with respect, with presence, with the kind of attention that honors her experience rather than questioning or minimizing it. And yes, I get asked often, is it safe to swallow? It might seem like a shocking question, but it's an honest one. And the answer is yes, provided both partners are healthy. In fact, medically, it's no riskier than kissing someone deeply or sharing a glass of wine. But this is about far more than biology. It's about emotional resonance. It's about how men respond in those intimate moments. Because how you react, whether with shame or reverence, can rewrite years of cultural silence and stigma. Picture this. It's late at night, you and your partner are wrapped in quiet. Maybe you've just put the grandkids to bed, the house is dim. She lets go, not just physically, but emotionally. And you have a choice. You can pull away, make a joke, grab a towel, or you can stay. You can smile, you can hold her and whisper, "You are amazing." That, my friend, is what builds intimacy after 60. That is elderly wisdom in motion. Not from books, but from lived experience, from choosing presence over performance, from understanding that real connection doesn't come from what you do, it comes from how you show up. When a man truly embraces not just the act of intimacy, but the full spectrum of emotion, response, and release that comes with it, something begins to change, not just in the bedroom, but across every corner of his life. This is where the deeper layers of elderly wisdom begin to unfold. You see, when we let go of outdated myths, when we stop seeing intimacy as a performance and instead view it as connection, our entire nervous system shifts. The body moves from a state of fight or flight into a state of rest and receptivity. Research has shown that emotionally connected intimacy, especially among aging couples, leads to improved cardiovascular health, better regulation of blood pressure, and even reduced levels of cortisol, the stress hormone that silently undermines so much of our well-being. Men who experience this type of intimacy regularly often report increased energy, a boost in testosterone, and an unexpected sense of grounded confidence. Why? Because when you're not worrying about being enough or doing enough or lasting long enough, you're simply present. That's what makes the difference. Presence. And for senior couples, this isn't just good advice. It's a lifeline. This is the intersection of physical well-being and emotional intelligence women deeply crave in their partners. It's not about youth. It's about attunement. It's about the courage to be emotionally available, to listen, to respond, to cherish. Too often, we've been told that aging is a downhill slide, especially when it comes to passion. But the truth, as I've seen over and over in my work, is that passion deepens with age, not in volume or fireworks, but in richness, in meaning, in tenderness. Let me give you a scene. Imagine a couple in their 70s. They've raised children, weathered storms, mourned parents, celebrated anniversaries, and one evening they find themselves soaking in a warm bath. The candles flicker, soft jazz playing in the background, steam curling in the air, and for the first time in years, they talk. Not just about errands or bills, but about memories, about what touch feels like now, what desire means today, what freedom feels like when shame is no longer invited into the room. That's not fiction. That's senior wellness in action. That's the fulfillment of everything female psychology facts try to explain. Women's health seniors rely on emotional depth more than ever. Sensuality isn't lost with age, it just asks to be treated with more care. And what does care look like? It's in the small things. It's in asking your partner, "How are you feeling today?" before you ever think about touching her. It's in recognizing that a woman's arousal starts in her mind long before it reaches her body. Emotional safety, especially for healthy aging women, is the foundation of any intimate act that's real, lasting, and nourishing. Because let's be honest, many women have gone their whole lives without ever being asked what kind of touch makes them feel safe. They've been taught to please, to perform, but not to explore their own pleasure as something sacred, something worth honoring. That's why it matters so much when a man, especially one with decades of life behind him, finally decides to break that cycle, when he becomes the one who listens, who holds space, who treats every part of her, body and soul, as worthy of attention, not for what it gives him, but for what it means to her. And when female ejaculation happens, and you witness that release, sudden, powerful, raw, how you respond says everything. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need all the answers.
What matters is presence. That you don't recoil, that you don't laugh it off, that you don't rush to cover it up like it's a mistake. Instead, you stay. You breathe with her. You say something true like, "That was beautiful," or "I love how your body speaks." These moments might feel small, but they create emotional legacies, the kind that live quietly inside a woman's heart for years. They build trust in ways that no product or pill ever could. They show her she is safe, not just physically, but emotionally. And that's the core of senior women's psychology. It's not about hormones or performance. It's about recognition. It's about seeing your partner fully, not just in the light of desire, but in the light of dignity. You don't need to chase youth. You don't need to compare yourself to the past. What you have now, if you choose to claim it, is intimacy born from life itself. The kind of love that has survived, that has evolved, that has matured into something solid and slow burning. And if you've never seen a woman ejaculate before, or you're afraid of what it might mean, let me say this clearly. It's not a goal to strive toward. It's not a trick to master. It's a gift. And like all real gifts, it arrives unannounced when the atmosphere is right. Not perfect, just honest. So take the pressure off. Be the man who isn't chasing outcomes, but offering presence. Be the partner who says, "Whatever happens, I'm here. I'll meet you in the moment." That's what opens doors. That's what heals old stories. Let's take this even deeper now, not just into understanding, but into practice. Because knowledge, as beautiful as it is, doesn't transform relationships on its own. It must be lived, breathed into everyday moments. That's where change happens. That's where real connection is born. And if you're watching this because you're seeking more than routine, more than guessing, more than silence, then this next part is for you. There are 5 simple but powerful things you can begin doing tonight to create emotional safety, the kind that allows pleasure to bloom and intimacy to deepen even after 60. These are not tricks or hacks. They are acts of care rooted in elderly wisdom and the lived experience of mature couples who've chosen presence over pretense. First, start with conversation. And I don't mean small talk. I mean the kind of gentle, open-hearted question that tells your partner, "I see you. I want to know how you're doing." Before anything physical begins, sit together. Ask, "How are you feeling today?" Or, "Is there something on your mind you'd like to share?" That small gesture can melt walls built over years. For women, especially senior women, it's not the act of touch that opens the door, it's the feeling of being emotionally held. This is where emotional intelligence women admire becomes most visible. It's about listening, not fixing, holding space, not controlling the outcome. Second, when you touch her, do it slowly with intention. Think of her body not as a routine, but as a map you've never fully explored. Begin with her hands, her shoulders, her back. Watch her breathe. Let her sigh. Let your touch say, "I'm here, and I'm not in a hurry." This kind of touch tells the nervous system you're safe, you're home. It awakens parts of the heart and body that may have been quiet for years. This is healthy aging women care at its most intimate.
Third, if female ejaculation does happen, don't freeze, don't panic, don't disappear into silence. That's when your partner most needs to feel safe and seen. Say something real, something affirming, like, "That was beautiful," or "I love how free you feel with me." These words are not scripted, they're sacred. They validate her release.
They turn what could be confusion into celebration. Fourth, after the moment has passed, stay close. Get a towel. Bring her water. Hold her gently. Not because you're cleaning up a mess, but because you're staying present through the whole experience. That gesture, as simple as it sounds, sends a profound message. I respect you. I care about how you feel from beginning to end. It's in this kind of tenderness that real senior wellness tips come alive. It's care, not just chemistry. Fifth, and this is where many couples miss the magic, talk afterward. Lay together. Ask her how she felt. Share how you felt. Don't rush to get dressed or scroll through your phone. Let the silence be soft. Let the moment linger. This is where chemistry becomes connection. This is where memories are formed. This is what builds what I call emotional legacy, the kind of intimacy couples carry not for a night, but for decades. And if you're still unsure, maybe all of this feels foreign or overwhelming, I want you to know something gentle and true. There is no perfect way to do any of this. There is only presence, only kindness, only curiosity. And those three things, when practiced with sincerity, will take you further than any technique or tip ever could. Because the truth is, most women, especially those growing older, aren't craving fireworks. They're not waiting for magic. What they truly long for is your attention, your tenderness, your quiet confidence, the kind that says, even if I don't fully understand this yet, I'm here, and I want to learn. This is what defines emotional intelligence in love. This is the power of senior women's psychology brought to life, not in theory, but in touch, in words, and how you show up when the lights are low and the world has quieted around you. And if you're still unsure, maybe all of this feels foreign or overwhelming, I want you to know something gentle and true. There is no perfect way to do any of this. There is only presence, only kindness, only curiosity. And those three things, when practiced with sincerity, will take you further than any technique or tip ever could. Because the truth is, most women, especially those growing older, aren't craving fireworks. They're not waiting for magic. What they truly long for is your attention, your tenderness, your quiet confidence, the kind that says, even if I don't fully understand this yet, I'm here, and I want to learn. This is what defines emotional intelligence in love. This is the power of senior women's psychology brought to life, not in theory, but in touch, in words, and how you show up when the lights are low and the world has quieted around you. And if you're wondering, what's in it for me, Dr. Evelyn Hart? Let me answer that with science. Regular, emotionally connected intimacy has been shown to boost testosterone levels naturally. It helps regulate stress hormones like cortisol, improves prostate health through regular release, and supports better sleep, better mood, and an enhanced sense of purpose. This isn't speculation. It's biology and love working hand in hand. When you engage in intimacy with compassion and curiosity, you're not just supporting her pleasure, you're fueling your own vitality. You're reminding yourself, I'm alive, I'm safe in my own skin, I'm worthy of love, not because of what I can do, but because of how I choose to be present. This is the heart of elderly wisdom, not clinging to what used to be, but honoring what is, and choosing every day to create something beautiful from where you are with the person who is beside you now. Now, let's talk about silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that creeps into relationships when words are left unsaid, when questions go unasked, and when curiosity is replaced by caution. That silence, especially around female pleasure, has echoed for generations. It was passed down from parents who didn't know how to talk about it, from cultures that hushed it, and from friendships that joked about it instead of honoring it. But what if this generation, yours, decided to break that silence? That, my friends, is where true intimacy begins. And that's why I believe conversations like this matter so deeply, especially for those in the later stages of life. They are not too late. In fact, they may be right on time. Because what women over 60 are often craving isn't novelty or performance. It's openness. The kind that says, you can trust me. You can be fully yourself. There's something profoundly healing when a man, perhaps one who's never had these conversations before, finally chooses to speak with honesty, to ask his partner not just how she feels physically, but emotionally. To say, I want to understand what brings you joy, what makes you feel safe, what helps you let go. In that moment, you're not just learning about female psychology facts, you're practicing them. You're becoming the partner she didn't even know she needed because you're offering something rare, presence without pressure, and connection without condition. It's easy to underestimate the power of your voice, but one question asked with sincerity can change everything. What kind of touch makes you feel most alive? Have you ever felt completely free in your body? Is there something you've always wanted to explore but never felt safe to share? When you ask these questions and then pause, really pause, to listen, you're creating a sacred space, a space where her story, her pleasure, her body, and her truth can emerge without fear. That is what women's health seniors depend on more than supplements or advice. It's the felt safety of being heard and seen. And I want to say this clearly, it's not just women who benefit from this emotional shift. You do too. You begin to shed years of hidden shame, outdated expectations, and performative habits that never truly served you. You stop chasing outcomes and start experiencing connection. So many men in my practice, especially those over 60, have shared how deeply they wish they had learned these things earlier. But what I always tell them is this: it's not too late. In fact, you're in the perfect season of life to love differently, to love better. This is the season where wisdom becomes more important than speed, where tenderness becomes more powerful than technique. You're not less of a man because you're learning now. You're more of a man because you're willing to learn at all. That is healthy aging. That is senior wellness. That is the kind of masculine presence that invites a woman into full expression, including phenomena like female ejaculation, not as something to fix or fear, but as something to honor. And honoring it doesn't just happen in the bedroom. It happens in the way you talk during the day, in the way you look at her across the dinner table, in the way you take her hands during a walk and squeeze it just because. Because all of these moments are connected. And when trust is built outside the bedroom, it shows up inside it. When emotional intelligence women long for is offered consistently, it becomes the backdrop to physical release. It becomes the reason she feels free enough to let go.
And when she does, when her body expresses that moment of deep surrender, you're witnessing more than biology. You're witnessing vulnerability, strength, trust. And that, more than any performance, is what love after 60 is made of. So here's my invitation. Tonight, when things are quiet, when the world softens, ask her one brave question. Not to provoke or pry, but to open the door to something deeper. And then listen. Just listen. Not everything needs an answer. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all, except through your steady presence, through the way you stay near, through the way your hand rests on hers without demand, just devotion. This is what builds the kind of connection that lasts, not in fire, but in glow, not in noise, but in warmth. This is where the teachings of Dr. Evelyn Hart, grounded in decades of clinical practice and compassion, meet the quiet power of real-life choices. You don't need to rush into anything. You don't need to become someone you're not. Just begin with presence, with breath, with attention. Because when you show up like that, consistently and with care, you create something that no supplement, no program, no past experience can give you. A relationship that evolves with age, a connection that deepens with softness, and a love that becomes more real with every year that passes. Let's take a final breath together as we bring this conversation to a close, not as an ending, but as a new beginning. What you've just heard is not a lecture, not a checklist, not another set of rules to follow. It's an invitation, an open door, a quiet knock on the part of your heart that may have gone unheard for years. Because you're not just a man navigating the biology of aging, you are someone holding a story, one shaped by time, memory, effort, and love. And the relationship you share with your partner right now isn't a leftover from the past. It's a living, breathing bond that still has chapters left to write. This is what elderly wisdom teaches us most, that it's never too late to soften, to reconnect, to begin again. Intimacy is not limited by youth. It is deepened by years, by understanding, by quiet resilience. And when you choose to lean in, not with pressure, but with presence, you're not just enhancing pleasure, you're healing something much deeper. You're breaking silence. You're creating space for trust. You're allowing her body and spirit to express freely, without shame, without judgment. That, my friend, is legacy. Because in the end, legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about how you loved while you were here, how you listened, how you touched, how you responded in the most tender, most vulnerable, most human moments. You may not have all the answers. You may still have questions. But if you leave this video with one truth, let it be this. Your presence matters more than your performance. Your openness matters more than any technique. And your willingness to grow, especially now, is a gift to yourself, your partner, and everyone watching you live with courage. So tonight, let it begin. Let your actions speak the language of care. If she squirts, stay. Smile. Hold her. If she doesn't, stay. Smile. Hold her. Because what she remembers won't be whether it happened or not. She'll remember how you made her feel. Safe. Seen. Loved. And now, before we part, I have one small request. If this message touched something in you, if it sparked curiosity or softened a fear or gave you words for what you've never been able to say, please let us know. Leave a comment. Share one insight, one question, or one story of your own. No shame here, only truth and curiosity. That's how we go. And if you believe in love that deepens with age, if you value emotional intelligence and healthy aging women, if you're ready to rewrite the script on what senior intimacy looks like, then help us spread this message. Like this video,
Share it with a friend, a brother, maybe even your younger self. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell so you never miss a chance to learn, grow, and connect. This is Dr. Evelyn Hart thanking you for being here, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Together, let's keep building a world where aging means deepening, where connection means presence, where pleasure is honored, not hidden. And as you go forward, remember this: your touch can be healing. Your words can be safe. Your presence can be the most powerful medicine of all. Stay curious, stay kind, and keep living your most vibrant, connected life. We'll see you again very soon. In a world where we're taught to chase youth, the deepest beauty often lies in what grows with age: emotional depth, quiet presence, and the courage to understand one another without judgment. What we've learned today reminds us that intimacy is not about performance. It's about trust. It's about showing up, staying present, and embracing your partner's truth even when it's unfamiliar. When we make space for real conversations, gentle touch, and the full spectrum of human expression, we don't just connect, we heal. So wherever you are in life, remember this: it's never too late to love better, listen deeper, and choose compassion over silence. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment with number 1 to let us know you watched the whole video. We appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel to encourage us. We appreciate you. See you in the next video.